We'll have one more opportunity to hear those kids sing in a little bit. As we gather together, we have our sermon today is based on Great Expectation. Is the series we're on, Living Up to Expectations. It's based on the book of Ruth. We're finishing up the study of Ruth. We're looking today at chapter 4, verses 9 through 12. One of the things that we do is we encourage each other by reading our scriptures together. So if you join me by reading the scripture, it's on the screen behind me. It's also in your worship folder. Will you join me by reading? Then Boaz announced to the elders and all the people, "Today you are witnesses that I have bought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Kilion, and Mahlon. I have also acquired Ruth the Moabite, Mahlon's wife, as my wife, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property, so that his name will not disappear from among his family or from his hometown. Today you are witnesses." Then the elders and all the people at the gate said, "We are witnesses. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, who together build up the family of Israel. May you have a standing in Ephrath and be famous in Bethlehem. Through the offspring the Lord gives you by this young woman, may your family be like that of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah." And this is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. Will you bow with me for a brief moment? Gracious God, we thank you for your word. We thank you for your truth. We thank you for the encouragement that you give us. Lord, may this word enter into our hearts and enter into our minds. May it continue to help shape us as to who you've called us to be, now and forever. Amen. You ever have expectations? Yeah, we all do, don't we? I was thinking the kids were staying in their seats, and that was going to be one of my expectations, that they'd be able to sit there, but they went back to their families, so they'll probably sit even better now, right? At least that's our expectation. We also have an expectation that we're going to eat lunch, and I don't know if you smelled it on your way in, but there was that nice lunch smell as we gathered together, so we're expecting that. And there's some other expectations, like this story, this book that we're finishing up, Ruth. There's some expectations of this woman. I mean, she's not present when Boaz goes to the gate, but as he sits with the elders and he begins to let them know the story and that his heart is with Ruth, but there is someone closer who can be that redeemer for her. And it's a historical, it's a cultural context that we don't quite understand or grasp. But this Boaz begins to make the contract, begins to say that I will marry Ruth, that I will be a part of this family. This family will become my family. And I give up my land, I give up all my possessions and give it to this new family that is coming. And so as Boaz is saying this and doing this, the townspeople said, "Let it be so. It is right." And not only that, but they give him three pieces to look at. Well, one piece is that as Ruth enters into your home, may you be like Rachel and Leah, the founders, the Jacob's wives who helped create the 12 tribes of Israel. May you be famous not only in Ephrath, but also in Bethlehem. May you be famous. May your house be known. And then the third one was, oh, and my mind just went blank. Sorry, I had to look it up. It's what I get for trying to cheat without my cheat sheet. And the third one was the house of Perez with Tamar. So it was renewing that lineage, renewing that place where the line could continue. And in that day, in that culture, that's huge. That they're saying to Boaz, you have these big things that we're expecting of you. And that, like any good husband, Boaz went home, and what did he do? He puffed out his chest and he said, "Wife, Ruth, listen to me." No other guy does that, right? Okay, I'm just making sure that I'm not the only one who's getting in trouble later today. Boaz does this. He puts out himself and he says, look, Ruth, this is what they said. He was so filled with excitement. This is what they told me. They said, look, we could be like Israel. We can make tribes, that the country will be founded on us. And not only that, but they said that I'd be famous. That was part of their blessing. And not only that, they said that we would restore this lineage, that we would restore the line of Elimelech. And Ruth was probably excited first, is whenever you get that great news. She's probably highly excited and ready to go, and then it begins to sink in. Wait a minute. This is really great news, but that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of things to cram on top of me. What, a whole country's going to be based upon our family? And not just the whole country, but we're carrying this line that our children, our sons will carry the property. What if we don't have kids? What if we don't have sons? You're going to be famous. You're already famous. Everybody in town loves you. It's already there, but how do I fit into this? Ruth has these questions. And there's some of the similar questions that we have, right? For instance, I'll use my own life. When I got the call to come to this church in November, I got it in September, and I was excited at first. And then as we came and we moved in and we settled in and we started working and doing things, and then all of a sudden it started to hit me. Hey, I never led anything this big. There's a lot of people here. There's still a lot of people I don't know yet, and it's been a couple of months, all right, like 8. There's a lot of people with a lot of needs. That's a lot of responsibility. And maybe you have that same thing. Maybe it's the hope of a new job, or maybe it's a promotion. And you step into that promoted role, and then all of a sudden it's great at first, and then the weight begins to settle in on you. Maybe it's a family. Recently, you got married, and things are going well, and you're trying to blend families, or you're expecting your first child, and all of a sudden it's exciting news at first. And then the reality of, whoa, now I have a new life. I have this baby, this infant that I need to care for. That's a lot of responsibility. That's a big weight to carry. It's those expectations that we're living up to, isn't it? That it's not just there for us to hold on to. We're looking at this story of great expectation, and in the story by Charles Dickens, we have the main character Pip who wants to marry this woman. He's fallen in love with her, and all of a sudden he's been given this great wealth. And he's trying to live up to those standards, the standards that he has placed upon himself. Not that everyone else has placed them, but his own standards. So it's just not me and it's just not you. It's those weight of expectations that a lot of people carry, that all of us have at some point in time in our life. And we have that same expectation as we enter into a life with Christ. That we have this expectation. We are excited about following Jesus, and all of a sudden we understand that love, and we feel that great love. We understand that forgiveness, and we feel that forgiveness. And then we start looking around us, and we start seeing different things. There's some expectations. But there's also something different about our spiritual journey, about our spiritual life. Yeah, there are expectations, but those are expectations we don't carry on our own. We don't carry all these things. We have on this side, we have this side, sorry. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. That's a big expectation. But that we don't have to do it by ourselves. Because you see, as Jesus was walking on this earth, as Jesus was sharing with his people, he also said, you know what, I'm going to leave, but I'm going to give you someone else. I'm going to give you the Spirit of God, who will never leave you nor forsake you, who will walk with you, who will encourage you, who will strengthen you, who will give you the gifts that you need, who will provide for you the love wisdom, opportunities, who will help walk with you down these journeys. Because sometimes, I don't know if you're like me, we make mistakes, right? Sometimes those expectations get the best of us and we don't live like we're supposed to. And sometimes we make bad choices. But that's not where God leaves us. God says, okay, you made that bad choice and I'm extending forgiveness, but I'm also going to walk with you through this bad choice. And there's a lot of heartache involved, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. But many times if we think about, if we're doing it on our own, we cave into that pressure. But in our spiritual journey and our spiritual understanding, where we see that we're not alone. Let's go back to Ruth for a minute. I'm thinking as Ruth is hearing Boaz say all these things, she goes back to one of the first things that she said to Naomi. Where you go, I will go. Where you die, I will die. Your God is my God. And Ruth began to, at least this is my imagination, we don't have words, interpretation to say this or back this up, but I think Ruth, as she was going through this, began to realize that God had seen the people through so many things, that blessing that was laid upon Boaz was a blessing she didn't carry on her own. Not only was Boaz by her side, but God was with her. She remembered that she was being faithful to God. And as we look at further on down the line, Boaz and Ruth had a son named Obed, and Obed had a son named Jesse, and Jesse had a son named David, who became king of Israel, one of their greatest kings. And if you follow down that lineage, not only did David was the greatest king, but further on down the line, they had another king. We know him as Jesus. The King of the world, the Son of God, who came, who died, who rose again, not to only give us forgiveness, but give us hope of eternal life. See, we're not alone on this journey. These expectations we're living up to aren't just ours. We have one who walks with us. And we may scratch our head as we go through some difficult times, as Ruth was trying to figure out where the next meal was going to come from for her and Naomi, she still trusted. As Ruth was working and falling in love with Boaz, and as they were trying to figure a way of bringing their families together, she trusted. Now the question is for us today, will we trust? Will we follow in that same journey as we live up to those expectations and the expectations that God places on us? Will we trust God to see us through? Even if we make some mistakes and we make some poor decisions, will we trust God to not only to forgive us, but to walk with us, to get us through the other side? To allow God to open up our hearts and our eyes to what God is doing. To trust the Spirit of God the Spirit of God will provide. The Spirit of God will enable. The Spirit of God will encourage. That, to me, is what this unwilling historian, is how we've quoted this, living up to these expectations. That, to me, is how we can do that. Not on our own power, but by the Spirit of God. Trusting in Jesus, trusting in the Father, trusting in the Holy Spirit. So as we go and enjoy lunch here in a few moments, where's your trust? What are you going to do as you face this difficult day? And it may not be today, but you will face a difficult day. What will you do? Will you trust? Or will you allow the weight of those expectations cave in on you?